reception. But this is when you saw Nick Sirianni going at it with the fans. I'm sure you guys have seen this already today. Interesting to see him doing that. The Eagles get the win. The close one, they moved to 3-2 on the season. And the Eagles have been incredibly mediocre this year. It's no doubt about it. They rank 18th in points scored per game, 14th in points allowed per game. Their -6 turnover differential is tied for 28th in the NFL. They're the only team with a winning record and a turnover margin that low. And Dan, the Eagles did get back A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith yesterday, but they still only put 20 points up on the offensive side. Still cause for concern there?
Yes, because all you did was really avoid disaster in Philadelphia. Now, two things. One, Jalen Hurts, cleanest game he's had in a year, essentially. And then two, A.J. Brown worth absolutely every penny. And I like the fact that they got back to some of the 2-by-2 formation with the simplified pass game for him. 2-by-2, two receivers on either side of the ball. A.J.'s up at top. This is that stop route that this was kind of a go-to for them in 2022. Their Super Bowl run. Cover him one-on-one. You can't. Very similar, 2-by-2. This time he's going to run the short in, 5 yards push up. So you've seen the stop route where the corner gets soft. You've seen the short in where that corner gets soft. Again, very similar, 2-by-2. This time there's tight end wing up top. AJ at the bottom. You want to play in man coverage. This is the slant route on first down. First down throws for Philadelphia were huge. And then basically the game sealer, watch his release at the line of scrimmage, very top of your screen, 2-by-2 again. This is simple stuff for their offense. The release on the go route is absolutely, watch his feet, gone. And he just keeps his shoulders vertical. So I don't want to make this win out to be bigger than it was, but it is nice to see that some of that pass game stuff that was so prominent in 22 show itself again this weekend.
Yeah, Dio, I was thinking it's Jimmy's and Joe's this game, but conceptually, right now, I still don't think the Eagles have an identity.
I agree.
Which is what you're talking about. The fact that, like, we looking for you to put together. I saw Detroit run it well and throw it well.
Do whatever they wanted.
Whatever they wanted. If it still feels like to me, Philly is in this fight or flight mode. And having A.J. back is phenomenal, and it's going to help a lot of things offensively. I still believe they got to figure out how to become a more balanced offense.
Sure.
And more importantly, when you start thinking about who they're going to have to face in the NFC, right? If they're going to be a playoff team and have an opportunity to be there towards the end, you absolutely cannot be A.J. dependent.
Yeah.
We had this conversation 2 years ago,
identity is really like, can you on offense do whatever you want whenever
when you want it?
That's Detroit.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the fact that you got Saquon Barkley in the backfield, you should be able to get to that point.
Totally agree.
And the flaw that I saw, and let's give Cleveland a little bit of credit for that defense.
Talent.
Even though they in purgatory when it comes to their offense, they don't know what the hell.
More on that later.
That's still a hard defense to play against. So I'm gonna give a little bit of credence to who they were playing against, but more. I need to see more from Philly to feel like they legitimately can be an NFC contender to get in a championship game.
Well said. Also, guys, earlier we weren't sure about who this band was. It's the Rutgers band.
I think they're here from McCourty. Jason, McCourty?
They're doing great stuff behind us, so we're going to enjoy the show. Here's Love on Dobbs' return.
I don't think Rose ever showed emotion when he scored any touchdowns, so I think that's just who he is, and it was awesome to get that little group hug we had going out there on his first touchdown. So, but I mean, that's what this team's all about, is that brotherhood, just staying together and going out there.
We live a group hug on NFL Live too.
Yeah.
All right. What did you see, RC, from Love and those receivers?
I'm going to tell you what. Love, like the honey badger, he don't give no
Throw it down there.
Somebody down there. Go back to last week against the Los Angeles Rams. He throws a big-time pass on the post route to Jaden Reed. And there are 3 people down there covering. This week, he's fading away, and he pushes the football to Romeo Dobbs at the pylon. The throw to Christian Watson down the field on the post. He has this amazing arm talent, and he isn't scared to use it. He isn't scared to put the football in harm's way, and sometimes you do get interceptions and negative plays, but some of the positives you get from him is you always have an opportunity to make the big play. If he can cut down on some of the mistakes, he's absolutely scary to play against, because between Reed and Wicks and Dobbs and Kraft at the tight end position with Josh Jacobs in the backfield, this team is ultra talented for Matt LaFleur calling plays.
That wide receiver group crazy, bro. If they can all stay healthy, and keep themselves available. I'm going to go to the other side. Defense has cost the Green Bay Packers in a lot of years when we thought they had championship teams and could potentially get there. Now they're starting to show up. Listen, the Arizona Cardinals are a phenomenal running football team. For as much credit as we give Kyler Murray, they had answers for all of it, either walking safeties up. The defense coordinator Havley has done a phenomenal job in game planning each and every week and trying to take away the strength of the team. RC, it was the first time in a minute that I've seen somebody play the zone read with an extra overhang. And I know you can compromise yourself on the back end, but that was the choice that they made. They said, we paid Jair Alexander.
Yeah.
We got guys that we take in first round, and we are confident in the secondary. Guys, we're going to come up and
How
make
much
sure.
of that, though, you think is being a college coach who sees that very often in college?
I can't stand you. Because that's where I was going.
Yeah.
And
That Jeff Hafley love.
you got to you will compromise yourself when you're playing against quarterbacks like Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson. But what I love about what Hafley has been doing, he's been deciding to say, if we get beat, it's going to be this one way. And I think it's paying dividends, especially for those guys up front, because they're able to get after the passer now.
All right, so just one quick thing on the love for Jordan Love. If you're wondering how he stacks up with those other Packers quarterbacks, Love has 12 passing touchdowns in his first 4 games played this season. That's tied with 2011 Aaron Rodgers and 1996 Brett Favre for the second most in a player's first 4 games played in Packers history. So he's right on track.
Crazy that Brian Gutekunst had a backup plan.
Ain't that wild?
That's
He looks
crazy.
smart, and that's when Aiden Hutchinson drops him. Unfortunately, still down on the play. Here's more from Jerry and Dak.
This was a shocker. I thought we would do a lot of things better in that football game, and I think we can. We just didn't do them out there today.
Humbling for sure. Concerning. I'm not a guy to hit the panic button. I get to have the ball in my hands. I get to lead this offense. I get to lead this team. Hard for me to say that. And then shocking, I can agree to that to some extent.
It's just been a horrible run for the Cowboys in home games, dating back to their loss in the wild card round against the Packers. I see what we did there. We put the subway behind this graphic because they're just all the way underground with the way these numbers are. Dallas has scored just 85 points in their last 4 home games, allowed close to 450 yards a game and 167 points. That's the 3rd most in any 4-game span by any team at home in NFL history. Swag, I'm sorry because I feel like your sad face is warranted right now. Did you expect this type of performance out of the Cowboys?
Yeah, I did. And look, I got 2 TV buffs. YouTube boogie. You saw the damn season coming last year. You knew based on how season 1 ended, season 2 was only going to go downhill from there based on what they did this offseason. Here's the thing, though. When you look at, here's what Dallas should be most concerned about. I know that I know the Detroit Lions are considered or arguably the best team in the NFC. You are really that far apart, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the issue that they have to go back with. And I can't stand, listen, I think Dak has become a guy that will say what's on his mind a lot more than he was early in his career. Hey, Dak, let me say it for you. Hell yeah, it's concerning. And the reason it's concerning is, one, you top heavy as a football team.
Sure.
And everybody else roster is not only deeper, now your superstars ain't separated from nobody, especially in your division with what's going on in Washington. The trajectory of the Dallas Cowboys is what the conversation should go to, because this year they're a bad football team that probably won't make the playoffs.
I asked this morning, what team in the NFC do we think Dallas is definitively better than?
Carolina.
That's the one.
Ooh.
And maybe the Rams because of the injuries.
And you still don't know if Matt has a conniption, they could beat anybody.
Sure.
Conniption.
I was thinking about this today.
The wind's having a conniption right now on it. There's like cotton flowing around right here. I don't know what's
I don't believe that's cotton.
This is New England.
I don't know what it is. You're right, RC. It's not. Go ahead.
All right.
I thought it came off the jacket. That's why.
Hear me out.
Focus, Dan.
What quarterback in the NFL is in a worse situation right now than Dak Prescott?
Whew.
Think about it like
Maybe
this.
Drake May?
Think about it like this.
No.
No. Hear me out. One, the only shot we have to win is if I score 35. 2, we're less than one-dimensional.
I don't have the people.
We're not even one-dimensional.
Nope.
One-dimensional means you're going to throw it every play, but you can. They're so less than one-dimensional. They got to throw it every play, but they can only really throw it to one guy, and that's CeeDee Lamb. Now, Ferg has had his moments, no question, but you're asking Dak Prescott to do what every quarterback hates to do. I got to go be Superman every single play because I don't care who you are. Eventually, that bites you.
Catch up to you.
And that's when you see some of these red zone turnovers and interceptions. You're like, dude, that's not like you. No matter what people think I believe about Dak Prescott, those decisions are so abnormal for him down in the red zone.
Great decision maker.
I think it's because he's sitting there going, I got to score 35 every game to have a chance to win.
100%.
Yeah, it's like when you see a great defense saddled with a bad quarterback and then they get tired and they start pressing. I think about the Browns, and honestly, to some extent. And yeah, it's like the reverse of that with the quarterback. I'll flip it to the other side of the ball. I think what we saw was that the improvements in run defense over the last couple of weeks were something of a mirage because of opponent, and also because this is a team that has, stacked the box and dropped safety to help defend the run and left themselves vulnerable, in the process to the explosive pass, which, by the way, to turn this to the Lions, that is a new dimension to this Lions team. Last year, when they were facing single high, you didn't feel like they could attack deep and outside the numbers.
Jameson.
Now they can beat you so many different ways, and a team like Dallas is just woefully overmatched against them.
Yeah, this was like Mike Tyson versus Michael Spinks. We all knew how this was going to go.
Bing bong.
2 weeks ago, I said for the Dallas Cowboys to compete, Dak Prescott had to play at an MVP level every single week.
Yeah.
I still believe that. On Friday, me, Mina, Dan were sitting there, and I was asked a question that there only was one answer to. How do the Cowboys win the game?
Everybody.
Offensively, everybody has to play the best game they've played all season, which is impossible to ask. Yeah. This was an impossible matchup for the defense. The worst matchup possible. It was predictable. Everybody knew that this was going to happen. Coming into the game, you knew they couldn't stop them from running, and you knew once they couldn't stop them from running that they couldn't stop them from beating them deep down the middle of the field because they would have to play single high. It looked just like it looked against the Saints. It looked just like it looked early against the Ravens. It looked just like it looked against the Green Bay Packers. If they play good offense, they gonna get blown out of the stadium every single time, and we saw that. And they have nobody offensively to combat that. And we said it the entire offseason. We got tricked week 1. But you won't trick me. Like George Bush said years ago, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me, can't get fooled again.
Can't get fooled
Tell
again.
him, RC. That's
he
true.
Didn't remember the rest.
Well,
but
you know
it's true.
Slight paraphrase.
I was going to say it was something like that. So for as much of the negativity has been toward the Cowboys and the positivity has been toward the Lions, Jags turn it over the Bears, sealed the deal in London, beating the Jags 35-16. And my goodness, the Jags, we're going to table that part of it for a second. Talk about Caleb Williams. He went off in this one, becoming the 4th different quarterback in NFL history to throw 4 touchdowns, complete 75% of his passes, and rush for 50 yards in a game. He joins Lamar Jackson, who's done it twice, Robert Griffin III, and Aaron Rodgers back in 2011. Dan, Caleb Williams looked like the #1 overall pick in this game. It was fun to see him do that. What stood out to you on the tape?
He has for a couple weeks now, and I think he's going to be one of the reasons why this team's playing meaningful games in December. Proactive eyes lead you to the ability to throw guys open or before they're ready for the football. This is 3rd down, 3rd quarter drive. You got to see Keenan Allen on the left and watch the rotation from the underneath defenders. Caleb's got to watch the crisscross, but also hold that nickel and get the ball out before that window closes. It comes out right now as Keenan is just sitting into that soft spot. He did not do this early in the season. That's why the ball's on time. The touchdown pass to Caleb Keenan is unbelievable. Okay, you've got 2 high safeties. RC knows this. You want to take advantage of the middle field. You're going to lift the front side safety, and then Keenan on the backer. Watch when Caleb throws this football. Keenan is not even remotely close to looking for the ball, but you got to throw him away from that linebacker. You got to turn him over his left shoulder. That ball placement is unbelievably perfect. And I think there's multiple examples of that showing up on tape consistently for Caleb Williams. And all you're watching is this young player start to ascend at that spot.
Yeah, for all of the talk around the draft about Caleb's magical plays and extending and making crazy throws, the thing I loved the most about him was his play in the pocket when he got rid of the ball quickly, because he's so dang accurate. And you're seeing that here. In fact, on quick passes, 2.5 seconds or less. He went 13 for 14 in this game. There was a lot of concern in the beginning of the season about the Bears' offensive line. We discussed that on this show. You know what helps an offensive line? A quarterback who's getting the ball out quickly. And you saw in this game the way they sort of fed on each other, because when he's getting the ball quickly, the offensive line is playing better. And then on longer developing plays, they had more structural integrity.
Yeah, I think the thing I love about what Caleb Williams is doing is when we talked pre-draft, it was how will he adjust and adapt to playing on time? And he's fully embraced getting better at that part of his game. And I think also the experience of doing it and having it be successful. We go back to week 2, I believe it was, against the Houston Texans. He started that game early using the quick game, and he got away from it. And now we've seen him lean more and more into that. We also know that this team was built to be a soft landing spot for a young quarterback with all of the skill players. I believe we're starting to see him understand where those guys like to get the football and in what ways they can help him with their skill set.
His last 2 games, he has 5 missed throws. That is unbelievably impressive in the NFL.
Yeah, it is. You know what's not impressive? I finally gave up and got a blanket. I was too cold.
You got another one?
It's called intelligent.
No, I had, well, okay. You know what? I'll take that. I just wanted to own it because I'm a baby, and it's way colder out here than we thought it was going to be. They lead 37-27. Sean Tucker taking the handoff, bouncing it outside for the first career touchdown. Mixtape Bake is what makes everybody here happy, and on that note.
Hold on.
What?
What's this sound like?
It went. Okay, so we're giving love to Mixtape, but the run game, too, for the Bucs showed up. How'd they do it?
It did. Mina, I love that you said the game was unhinged. Just like letting your badass kids in the backyard with no supervision. They didn't know what the hell they was doing. Didn't nobody know who was going to win in the first half. But then the Bucs run game came to fruition. And remember, this is a team we talked about that was devoid of having a rushing attack. I think it's translating into Baker playing well and in rhythm and on time. But the fact now that they're able to churn yards with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans on the outside, and you have to play this team in both, could become a huge issue in the NFC for a lot of people. Watch out for Tampa, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Baker threw 3 picks, and they scored 51 points.
2 of them weren't Baker's fault.
That's fine. That's fine.
Oh, of course.
That's fine. They wasn't.
Backyard ball.
But 3 turnovers don't lead you into a 51-point game.
I'm going to talk a little bit about how they got to 51 points. You're the movie guy, RC.
Yeah.
What's the scariest movie you've ever seen?
Oh, the scariest movie I ever seen was It.
Okay. And how did you feel watching it as a child?
As a child, like it was going to come get me. Like it was going to come out the closet and kick my ass.
That is how the Saints defense is going to feel in the film room this week. Because, I mean, and I feel bad saying this because they got a lot of good players. But those good players made some real bad plays in this game. And it's not about scheme. We're talking missed tackles, guys running into each other. This was honestly
blown coverages.
Spencer Rattler struggled in the second half, but the defense needed to lift him up in this one, and they did the exact opposite.
Love it.
Also,
I don't do scary movies.
The multiplicity of this offense, though, the amount of people that can beat you. We talked about Sean Tucker. Never heard of him. Right, comes out and balls yesterday. Bucky Irving has been trending this way the entire season while he was backing up Rachaad White. And we all know what Mike Evans is, but Chris Godwin is an absolute dog. The physicality in which he plays the wide receiver position with is out of this world. And it's guys like Trey Palmer, who has a concussion, Kate Otten makes plays at the tight end position. I love this team, and Baker is also playing extremely well, and he lifts you with the effort he puts into playing the quarterback position.
I think there's 3 people in the NFL that teams run their offense through. Justin Jefferson is one. I think Jamar Chase is one. Nico Collins is one, so 4. Mike Evans is the other. I'm telling everybody, watch this team and offense. They put Mike and go, okay, it's going to be Mike, and if it's not Mike, it's going to be Chris. And if it's not Chris, it'll be some of those Sterling Shepard's playing well. Those 2 backs. Part of this is the reality that Liam Cohen, who's the offensive coordinator in Tampa Bay, is really hot right now. He's got a great pulse for this football team and the people that they want to go through and how he's building. He'll put Mike and Chris together. He'll put Mike one side and Chris the other side. He'll take advantage of some of the different matchups. to your point, I think Tampa's dangerous because their scheme is kind of wide open. I don't know if I have a pulse on exactly who they are on offense in a good way.
Yeah, it was interesting, too, watching Baker on the sidelines yesterday. You always talk about mixtape Bake. Even when he was making mistakes, a couple of them weren't on him, he was having the time of his life, smiling, going up to everybody. I mean, that's who he is. But you could see how
still worried about him, and the man ain't been in college in 10
years. Did you see what he said about it? I'm living rent-free.
Hey, Oklahoma needed him on Saturday.
I'm going to bust it up when we get down here.
Hey, bust it up. You guys ready? That's a busted up signal. Let's go. Marcus, who ate this week?
Man, I ain't never think I was going to have to put my team on Nate. Ass getting busted up. But I got to do it. I could have picked like 20 plays from this game, but I'm going to talk about David Montgomery and the physicality in which he runs with. He is a create your own hole type of guy.
Yes,
Find your lane if somebody there run through their face. The touchdown run was phenomenal. Breaking tackles. My man Donovan Wilson is a really good tackler, but he like, nah. He like, nah. And a couple weeks ago, y'all remember I talked about David Montgomery and how important he was. This is why.
It's so
set the tone.
That's why he got paid for the game.
I wanted to highlight one of the most underrated backs in the NFL.
Yes, he is.
Tyler Algier. You guys, look at this. I mean, count the Panthers defenders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It does not matter.
Busted.
He carried the ball for over 100 yards in this game. I felt like 500 of them on this play.
You can't run me over in them uniforms.
Hey, I'm gonna go. Listen, I'm a quarterback, so I'm going from the big physical run game. Man, Josh Downs.
Balling with Flacco.
He is lighting it up. We talk about slot receivers in this league and how impressive so many of them are. Josh Downs, this ain't Josh Downs, but Josh Downs is balling for the Indianapolis. Hey, A.D. Mitchell's had some plays. Michael Pittman Jr.'s had some plays. If this team did not have Josh Downs, this team would be sitting at 3-3. One of the best young slots in ball.
Joseph Alexander Mixon is back. That's 7.8 yards per carry, 2 tutties, and he was just a force. He even had Stephon Diggs out there blocking. You know why? Because he was going to high step into the end zone, and he was going to do every single Bay Area dance as a celebration. It's cold, y'all.
Alexander. Yeah, look at you guys.
What's the Bay Area dance?
It's a celebrating the run game.
Been telling y'all that for 3 years.
That was for you, Swag. It's your segment. We're doing all that thing. We run it.